welcome back to Heart of Strengths. As you know, this show is really to help you, celebrate you, to help you live life a little bit more intentional, to encourage you. Today, our discussions are going to give us those practical strategies to help you work smarter, to stay focused, and to live with intention. I want to talk today about the power of that weekly check-in of your productivity. I don't know about you, but there have been times in my life where I have said to myself that my to-do list just never ends. It seems like the more I check off, the more I still have to do, right? Am I not really making any progress? Sometimes when I look at that list, I'm thinking, what have I gotten done? So we're going to talk through a 3-step process that I have found over the years that helps me. It's a very simple process. It only takes about, for me now, it takes about 10, maybe 15 minutes. At first, it may take you just a little longer until you get used to doing it on a weekly basis. But I guarantee you, it helps. And it's a very simple way of doing things. So I challenge you to either sit down and open your app notes on your phone, or maybe jot these 3 things down in a notebook, or just simply sit and listen to what we have to say today. But thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today and giving me the opportunity to share with you what has been working for me. You know, I am asked a lot about how I get everything done that I do. I'm like each one of you ladies. We have a lot of balls that we're juggling, a lot of roles that we play. And a lot of times people will say, how do you get all that done? I was just asked that this last weekend. We were at dinner with some friends, and she said, Delina, you have so much going. How in the world do you stay getting everything done? And my answer to her was, well, I'm organized. On the way home, though, on the drive home, I started thinking about that, and I thought, you know, she asked me a question, and I didn't really give her an answer. Everyone can say they're organized, but the question is, how do I prepare? What helps me be organized? What helps me accomplish all the things that I get accomplished during the week? You see, that's how I should have answered her question. I should have been able to give her some pointers instead of just saying, I'm organized. That wasn't very helpful for her. And I think oftentimes people ask us questions, one, because they really want to know, but two, to learn, to gain some insight from each other. We rely on each other, women, to be able to learn from one another. Before I give you the 3 steps, though, I do want to remind you that the Bible really does give us all aspects of life lessons. And it does talk about productivity. In Luke chapter 14, it says, suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? That type of preparation prevents failure. It prevents waste. In this passage, it's really speaking about how necessary it is to carefully plan in order to finish the task, right? In Proverbs 21, it says, the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. Again, it's that planning, strategy. It results in productivity. So, what do I do on a weekly basis? On Sundays is my day to do just what I'm going to explain to you. The way my Sunday looks, and it's all different for everyone, but typically my husband and I will go to church, we go out to lunch, we come home. I may rest for a little while. I may read for a while. I just take a quiet day, right? And then later in the afternoon, I will sometimes sit down and sign books that I'm mailing out for the week. And then this is where I start looking at what the week is to bring for me for the following week. The first thing that I do is I take a look at the task that I got done from the week before and the results. I start to look at it and think about what I accomplished, right? The goal here is really to track it. It's not what I planned, it's what I actually got done. What happened during that week? I have a to-do list, but I also have a done list throughout the week. Some of the questions that I ask myself are, what tasks or projects did I complete? What took more time than I thought it would take? What didn't happen? What was on my list that I wanted to accomplish for the week, but it didn't happen? Where did I get distracted in that process? Now, I love a to-do list. I love to check everything off. I get so much gratification when I do that. But when I first started this process, because there were things on my list that did not get done, and as I reviewed the week prior, I judged myself. So you first need to realize this isn't about judgment. When you're assessing your week, it's really about gathering the data. It's about looking at what the accomplishments were. The goal here is for you to get a clear and honest picture of how you spent your week. It's not questioning how many things you got done. It's collecting the data. Now, little quick tip. Like I said, I keep a list of what has been completed. I just jot that down through the day so that on Sundays I can pull that out and just glance at it. I don't have to do a lot of thinking about throughout the week. I know exactly some of the big highlights of what I got accomplished, whether it was on the list or I needed to add it as a done task, right? Once you've gathered that data, then it's really look at it and see what are the wins and where are there gaps from that week. So you're still reflecting on the week. You're asking, are there tasks that you consistently keep putting off? I've done that. There's tasks that I put on for this week. It gets moved to the following week. It moves to the following week. It gets moved again, right? This is a time for you to go, wait a minute. If I haven't done this task in 2-3 weeks, does it really matter? Does it matter if it gets done? Or do I need to take that one task and break it down into smaller tasks? This is the time for you to evaluate that. These are your gaps versus your wins. Then I take a look at what are some habits that I did during the week that I can see helped me accomplish these things. It could be that you got up 30 minutes earlier on this particular day and you spent time in quiet time, or you went and exercised at the gym that day. There's habits that you can start seeing that on the days that you did those habits are the days that you were more productive. So you're recognizing those things. This is where you start to see the trends. This is where the strengths that you have, you can lean into them. And then the gaps that you have, you can adjust. Now, one of the other things during this part of my evaluation from the week before, I really look at my energy level. I take a mental note through the week. I might jot it down, but usually now I just kind of have a mental note. When did I have more energy through the day? When did I get distracted? Is there a trend in that? What activities drain my energy versus my focus? When you track your energy, you can align your schedule accordingly. Example, I'm more productive in the mornings. That's the time for me to do my deep work, right? If you crash in the afternoons, then maybe you need to schedule that time to do something more administrative, just some tasks that need to get done, but it's not a deep work time for you. This is where you learn your energy. You're checking in that focus time. Though once you've done the 2 tasks, and again, ladies, this only takes 15 minutes or so a week. Your third step is now you want to adjust for the following week. You've reflected, you've seen what's working, what didn't work, right? You see what you accomplished, the things you checked off your list. Maybe there's some things that need to be added for this following week. Maybe you need to take some of that task that continues to be on there weekly and break it down to smaller tasks. This is probably one of the most important steps for you to start looking at your week. The goal here isn't just to repeat the week prior, but it's really to improve it. What worked well? What can I keep doing? What's the one thing that I can tweak? Maybe it is that time of the day that you work. Taking a look at that after you've evaluated, then plan your week. How can I adjust my schedule? The whole goal here is adjusting your week for you to be successful. That's what you want to accomplish. Maybe you block out distraction-free time in the morning, or you move an important task to a different day when you have more energy. Maybe you know your workout days and you know those are my productive days. So when I've got something I really need to make sure I get done, I put it on that day, right? Start thinking about that. Don't be overwhelmed with the whole list. Break it down into the days. The key here is those small intentional changes. When you do that over time, that's when you're not just staying busy, but you're getting better at what you're accomplishing. There's a power about those small adjustments. Now, why does this process work? Again, it was just 3 steps, ladies. 3 steps, not a big, long, drawn-out thing, right? This process works because a lot of times people, they look at productivity somewhat like they do their New Year resolutions, where they're going to put everything at once and they're going to try to accomplish it all that week. And what happens? They don't accomplish it. They give up because the things they're trying to do didn't stick, right? We talked about that at the beginning of the year with our resolutions. Massive change all at once is unsustainable. This is where you can look week by week and make the small tweaks. This is because it's consistent. It's consistent improvements of what you're trying to accomplish from a weekly standpoint. Instead of trying to fix everything, you're just tweaking it, one or two things at a time. Now, what I have found is if I skip and I wait a month, 2 months, and then I go back and try to evaluate what I've accomplished, I'm not seeing a lot of productivity. This is where I can do this on a weekly basis and I can adjust every single week instead of burning out because I've waited a month to 2 months to assess things and I feel burned out. I'm building momentum on a weekly basis. I'm seeing steady progress. That's the benefit. I think the term is Kaizen method, I think is what it's called. It's a Japanese philosophy where it's taking those small incremental steps, making improvements, right? A lot of athletes do this, a lot of really productive people, top performers. Our company does this from a corporate perspective. We have a whole team that will come in to the different areas of the company and review the processes, make small tweaks, improve productivity. That's what we need to be doing in our lives, but do it on a weekly basis. Again, over time, these small shifts, they're going to compound into massive results because you're going to see the results. You're going to see them on a weekly basis and be able to recognize them. Now, there's a mindset that we have to also remember. Productivity versus busyness. Productivity isn't about doing more. Let me say that again. Productivity is not about doing more. It's about doing the right things. A lot of us fall into that trap, don't we? We fall into the trap of busyness, crossing over 100 things on the to-do list, but not actually making progress on what matters. A weekly check-in helps us with that. It helps us take that step back and ask, am I focusing on the right things? Is this task actually moving me forward? This is something we talked about with goals at the beginning of the year. Again, this is something we can do on a weekly basis and determine our plan for the following week. This is where we're aligning with our goals that we have set. This will help you stop working on that autopilot, that way of doing business, and start working with intention. That's what we're trying to do here. So my challenge to you this week is I want you to give 10, 15 minutes once a week. It can be on a Friday at the end of the day. It could be a Saturday morning when everyone is still in bed and you're trying to review your week. It could be on a Sunday afternoon like me. The point is, pick a time that you can do this and reflect. Be committed to sit down, review the past, spot your key takeaways, and adjust for the following week. I want you to try this let's try it for a month. I want you to do it 4 times, once a week, for 4 weeks. And I want you to see if it is giving you the tools to be more productive. What I think you will find is that it brings awareness throughout the week. You'll probably find that during the week, you're tweaking and adjusting just a little bit without realizing it. And then my hope is that on that Sunday afternoon, that when you're reviewing the past week and planning for the following week, it motivates you. It gets you a little bit more energized for the week to come. It also allows you ladies to recognize some downtime, because as you're checking those things off the list, not being busy, not that busy work, you're allowed to give yourself some time to yourself. Remember this. I referenced the Bible earlier. I don't think in the Bible anywhere does it say the word organization. And I used that word last week with my friend. Yes, am I organized? Absolutely. But there's ways to be organized. This is one of just the quick 3-step ways of being organized for your time and what you get completed. The Bible does, though, consistently. When you look through and read scripture, it promotes the principles of productivity. It promotes the principles of planning. It promotes a sense of order in all aspects of life. That's it for today. It was a short, quick little topic. It was just a 3-step process that I have found that works for me. I hope that it helps you. If there is anything that you found helpful just with these 3 tips, I'd love to hear from you. Tag me on social media. Reach out to me if you want to dive deeper into this and really learn a little bit more of scheduling, planning, organization. I'm here to help you. I feel like that's something that I can help women with. So reach out to me. Again, thank you for continuing to support me with the weekly episodes of Heart of Strength. Remember this, productivity isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Have a great time over the next few days, a great week, whatever day you're listening to this. And know that I do lift my listeners up in prayer. It's a priority for me to be praying for you and to know that God is speaking to you through technology. I pray for myself that I continue to give you some strategies on how to be more intentional and to live life to the fullest. Thanks again, and I'll see you here next week.